is Belinda Doveston, and welcome to the I Ching Cafe and to this very special episode from 2022 to 2023, because yes, we are here. We are here in 2023. So every year I use this opportunity for us to look back at the past year and to look forward to the year to come, bringing together what we should have learned as a collective last year and what we're being asked to focus on as a theme for the year in 2023. So let us start by just recapping last year. We had our focus for 2022, the Hexagram 55, abundance, calling us to focus on abundance consciousness, on throwing our focus and our attention into creating abundance in our world, tapping into the abundance that's all around us and using it for good. So abundance might not necessarily mean physical cash. It might be all kinds of different harvesting that you had done last year. So think about what was the harvesting that you did last year. For me, the culmination of a move into a new space, into a new chapter of our life, has been such a huge culmination of that energy of abundance, of having the opportunity to try something, to expand our boundaries, of stepping into something new as a family. And so there has been such wonderful evidence of the abundance in my life. And so for you, looking back at 2022, what was the manifestation of that for you? So this annual overview, what we're going to do is we're going to break it up into pieces. If you look at the description below this episode, whether you're on the podcast version or on the YouTube version, you will see a set of timestamps. Okay, that means you can go and click on the link in the timestamp to a particular chapter or section of this episode. Or if you're on the podcast, you can scrub through until you find that timestamp in the episode. If there's something specific you would like to get into or you'd like to go back to later or throughout the year. And how we're going to do this is as follows. I'm going to start by looking at a question I asked. What was our learning from 2022? Where were we supposed to have got our learning and our growth in the year that has passed? Because looking back is really important to reflect on where we've come from, what we've learned, what we've internalized. Because then we lock in that learning, right? Not lock in a negative context, but locking in and really solidifying and bringing the idea of our learning into something concrete and physical. Then we're going to look at the second question. I cast the coins for a second question. What do we need to focus on in 2023? Now, for all of us, you can imagine we're in a soup, all right? And we each have our own life soup that we are swimming through. And the hexagrams bring to the surface a particular state of change, a particular metaphor or a symbol for us to look at and reflect on. We have all 64 hexagrams within us at all times, but we go through cycles. And so as we go through these episodes, what the hexagrams do is they bring out of that soup, all right, out of the subconscious into our present mind, into our kind of conscious focus, a particular hexagram, a particular set of changing lines to get us to reflect and look at what this is trying to tell us. Okay, so think about the year ahead for 2023 as that kind of image or metaphor coming out of the soup. It's not going to be the only metaphor or image that comes out of your soup because your life is unique and special to you. You are on your own path. These are stories and symbols that are connecting us and binding us together for the year to come. Now, for 2023, we have 5 changing lines. Okay, and that means lots of change. Okay, so how are we going to do this? I'm going to go through what we learned in the past year. That has its own timestamp. I'm going to go through the symbols and energy of our 2 hexagrams for 2023. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the year up into little chapters. Because we've got 5 changing lines, we've got 2-month chapters. We've got 6 little sprints of 2 months each, where each one has a theme. And I'm going to explain a little special technique that I'm going to share with you that we're going to use for that. Okay, those will all be time-stamped. Okay, so if you want to go back and say, look at what is the March-April energy, okay, you want to go back and re-watch and go reconnect to that particular little slice of the story, you can go to the timestamp. Okay, so it's a tool to be with you throughout the entire year. It's not a one-hit wonder, hopefully. Hopefully it's something that you can go back to and refer to over time. Okay, got it? So first up, let's look at the learning from 2022. What were we supposed to learn and take from this year? Okay, so there's still work for us to do to reflect and think back on the year just gone past that we can internalize the learning. Our 2 hexagrams that we got for the year are hexagram 53, development. Okay, 1 changing line in the first position going to hexagram 37, the family. So let's just work through them, and I'm going to go at a pace with this first part so we can get into the juicy detail of 2023. Okay, development, hexagram 53 will be the dominant energy we focused on for the first part of the year, last year. And this is about making considered step-by-step progress towards union, towards connection, towards achieving our goals, reaching the summit, the wild goose flying off towards the top of the summit, okay? So a key theme for last year was focusing on making steady and sure and persistent progress, putting one foot in front of the other, growing, doing lots of growing, but in a steady, maturing way. This is the symbol of the marriage that lasts because we continue every day to show up for each other, and we symbolically bring our best selves, and we keep on growing together as we go up to the mountaintop. Okay, so development and progress being a key part. What was the development you could highlight for yourself in this past 12 months? Particularly over the first 6 months of the year, what was the key development, the plotting you were doing in chipping away at improving something that you're working on developing it and making gradual progress towards something, towards an achievement, okay? With 1 changing line in the first position, you can imagine this is something new, okay? So the development process is new, okay? And this changing line indicates, particularly up until the 30th of June, that there were some tricky steps in the beginning steps of this journey of development, okay? The early steps in development, early steps and path towards union, and with that came some challenges and some difficulties, but our focus was to keep on moving forward. Despite challenges, despite the setbacks we might have experienced, to have kept moving forward step by step. Okay, so that's our changing line. Our second hexagram, hexagram 37, the family, is a hexagram we had actually quite a lot towards the end of 2022, and it's all about harmony and order in the home, which I laughed when I saw this because, of course, for me, a home was a culmination of the development work throughout the year. For you, what is family and home and the culmination of family for you in 2022? Okay, what was the second half of the year's theme for you? Family as a hexagram is not necessarily your home family only. It can be your work family, your tribe, your close community, the place where you feel at home, the hearth, right? The center of your life. And so this hexagram brought us the learning of getting the family life in order, getting everyone back in the rightful place, creating harmony, creating togetherness, creating a sense of home, okay? And for you, what was that in 2022? So key learnings: development, the family, the home, the tribe, the hearth, the center of our life. And even though we had some difficulties as we made some new steps in the path to development, persevering through them and through that growth. Okay, if you have any comments, please share them about 2022. So let's get into 2023. All right, we cast the coins. What is the I Ching asking us to focus on? That is our question, our focus question we use every month, every week. In the midst of everything that's happening, what's our focus point? What do we really need to pay attention to? And so this question of focus has given us 2 hexagrams, and as I mentioned already, 5 changing lines. Okay, so there's a lot of change. Last year, we had this same question for 2022 being hexagram 55, abundance locked. Okay, now we have 5 changing lines, okay, action stations, all right? Lots of stages of change, lots of stuff happening. Okay, let's take a look. Our first hexagram for this question of focus in 2023 as we start off the year is hexagram 63, after completion. You've heard me mention before when you talk about this hexagram that 64 is before completion. It's the last hexagram that talks about being before complete. And 63 is the second last one, and it talks about being after complete. Okay, these are part of the I Ching mind twisters that we have to understand, and we understand the flows of change. Okay, 64, the end, is but a closing of the end. And this one, 63, after completion, says we are almost finished the crossing. Okay, we're in the last third of crossing the great water, which is a symbol of undertaking a challenge. We're just about to finish this journey. Now, when you are crossing a river in a boat, okay, and you've picked a course, and there's rapids, and there's wind, okay, and perhaps you haven't been across this river before, and perhaps the boat is new to you, when you get to the last third, and you've already gone through 2/3, you've followed your plan, right? You've gone through 2/3 of your plan. Now we're in the last third of this crossing. This is not the time to change the plan, okay? We don't change the plan. We complete the plan we are completing, okay? So what's really interesting is that, you know, we've had quite a lot of new starting energies coming up. We had the last weekly episode of 2022 being Hexagram 3, okay, difficult at the beginning, sprouting, new things sprouting. And we start off 2023, and the energy that we start off this year is one of completion has happened, is about to happen. We are in this liminal space between the completion about to happen and the completion having happened. So there's closure, there's close off. And there'll be a sense here with the start up to the year that closing off things and completing the plan as planned, not coming up with new plans, okay? This is not saying redesign the plan. This is finish the plan that you had agreed to, okay? Finish the finishing is what you have heard me say before, okay? So completion, closure, and keeping things in a balanced order. When things are complete, anything new that comes in destabilizes and creates chaos. What we want to do is we want to hold the position, okay? We want to hold the state of finishing, complete the process, and finish the finishing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you our outcome hexagram for the year, okay? Because they're like a sandwich. We have 63, okay, after completion, sitting in January, sandwich on the one, or like a hamburger, right? One on the top, one on the bottom. And we have the hexagram at the bottom holding it up. And then we have these 5 changing lines, okay? Our 5 layers of toppings, okay? And so I'm going to give you the outcome hexagram, and then we're going to talk about these changing lines, okay? So our outcome hexagram is quite a challenging one for this year, is hexagram 38, opposition. We have had this hexagram, like a bad penny, sorry 38, turn up again and again, all right? And we've had this recently as well, where oil and water do not mix, where we have some type of internal opposition or a conflict, an internal conflict, discord, not being understood, just things not connecting, not being able to get the message across, not being able to meet the right people, just like being stuck in not being able to connect internally, an issue internally. And I know many of you shared internal struggles you've been going through when this hexagram came up. And then we have the external opposition, where we've got a partner, we're in a relationship or a family member or someone in our business, someone in our team, a client, we're just not connecting, okay? Things are not gelling. And this hexagram brings us insight as to how to manage that, what to do about that. The way we do it and the way we deal with opposition is we create something new out of it. We don't try and get A versus B to get a winner out of the two. We try and emulsify A and B into something new, okay? Into something that has emerged out of the shadow, taking what's unresolved, sitting under the surface, bring the stuff out of the shadow, bring it into the light, and resolve it through dialogue, create something new that is now got a bit of this and a bit of that, but something else that takes it forward. Okay, so our key focus for the year is going to be starting up the year, this energy of completion, and towards the end of the year, culminating in resolving an opposition, emulsifying something new that overcomes the conflict or the lack of understanding. So let's have a look at what's sitting between the hamburger buns. So we have 5 changing lines. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Okay, only the first changing line is left untouched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick, okay, that comes out of the changing lines. What you can do, and I've given you a little bit of a picture here, is if you take the original hexagram, okay, so we have 63 after completion, And every time there is a changing line, you change just that line to create a new hexagram. Okay. It gives you a set of hexagrams that are like chapters in a story. So we have a changing line, but we also have a direction, an indicator of strategy brought to us by this new hexagram that's redrawn. So we take, changing line 2 and we flip that, okay, new hexagram. Then we do changing line 3, we put the other one back to where it was, we leave it. We only change changing line 3, new hexagram, and we do that for all the 5 changing lines. And that gives us 5 hexagrams. Okay. If this is too much for you, just go, oh, close, Belinda, please don't do this to me. What this does is gives us a 6-phase process or strategy for the year for our focus. And I'm going to take you through each of them. Okay. Because when we have 5 changing lines, it gives us 6 steps of change. 12 months, 2 months per step. Are you ready? Okay. Step number 1, changing line 2. This changing line, its message is that if we feel a sense of loss, the line talks about the lady loses her jade hairpin. She loses something that's precious to her and there's a sense of loss. Don't worry, it'll come back. Okay. So with this particular line, for January to February, till the end of February, the changing line comes to bring us this idea of if you feel like you've lost something important to you, don't feel sad, don't mourn it, just be patient, it will come back. And the hexagram that then comes because of this changing line is hexagram 5, waiting. So can you see the little joke there, right? The lady's lost her hairpin, her jade hairpin, which is us, okay? We have to be patient. We've lost something that we have valued, and we need to be patient. It'll come back. Hexagram 5, waiting. So for the first 2 months of the year, January to end of February, our task is to focus on hexagram 5, waiting. Okay, this hexagram says, be patient while the clouds are accumulating to bring rain. Okay, they haven't yet brought the deluge. Be that a project you're waiting on, finance, something that you're working towards. It's not yet here. We have to wait. Okay, and there's this feeling of maybe something has been lost. Okay, maybe we've lost a client or project or something, but it'll come back. Just be patient. Use the energy of waiting. While we are waiting for the rains to come, let's be productive. Let's build the dams. Let's build the little channels so that when the water falls, it has somewhere to go and somewhere to collect. Okay, let's be productive while we are waiting for the results to come in. Okay, next changing line in the 3rd position. This changing line says, just remember we are on a bigger journey. Okay, we're on a journey to achieve something great, to do something wonderful, and it takes time. So just be patient. What you want and need will come. Okay, so March and April, all right, our focus is on this changing line. Just remember to be patient and to keep working at this big project because it takes time to come to fruition. It doesn't just all happen now. So if there's some feeling of impatience, maybe remnants from hexagram 5 waiting, just trust the process. It's a big project. It's something big that you're working towards. Hang in there. The hexagram that then comes with that is hexagram 3, difficulty at the beginning, sprouting. Okay, so now new energy is starting to pop up after the waiting period of January and February, and our task is to make sure our foundation is in place, okay? Because we have started something new. This big project that we're working towards, it has started. The energy has begun and it will take time to come. Our focus is therefore on sprouting, supporting the growth that's popping up, and supporting the new beginning by making sure our foundation is in place. In a way similar to waiting. While you're waiting, don't just sit there staring at the clouds. Build something, do something. Be productive in getting ready for the rains to come. Okay, then in position 4, we've now crossed that chasm, okay, between the bottom trigram and the top trigram. This one says, everything looks good, okay, it's looking good, it's kind of set up, okay, the seeds have been popping out, we've been putting our foundation in, all right, now we are in May-Jun, looking good, okay, but be vigilant, all right, we've only just crossed this middle path of this hexagram 63. Be vigilant, stay focused, and put your head to the ground. Focus on what you need to pay attention to. It's looking good, there's signs, but this is not the time where we become complacent and we stop being very hyper-focused on what it is that we are doing. And that gives rise to hexagram 49, revolution. Okay, now we have the opportunity to overthrow the old and bring in the new and get rid of that snake skin, slither out of that skin and find ourselves refreshed and renewed, letting the old go and overthrowing the things that no longer serve us, the old skin. Now, July, August, okay, changing line in the 5th position. This one says, stay strong and dedicated. Stay focused on what it is that you're trying to do, on this crossing that we're trying to make, on the completion energy that we are working with in 2023. And we're now in a good position, okay? We're in line 5. It's a position of strength, but we must stay strong and focused and dedicated to our cause. The hexagram that comes with this is hexagram 36, darkening of the light. That is, there's danger around, there's challenges around. What we need to undertake is difficult, but what we have to do is go within, okay? Hide our light under the ground, go undercover, kind of protect ourselves from the influences that are not for our highest and best, and get on with the job, okay? So let's go undercover and really focus on taking on the challenging task that's in front of us. Be strong and dedicated to that task at hand. And then, in position 6, okay, our changing line there is a challenging one, okay. This is the culmination of the water, the last moment of completion. You can imagine we're crossing the river, okay, and the changing line says, you run the risk of wading into deep, okay. Deal with this problem, reverse the behavior now, okay. You might find yourself far into deep, okay, and then in a difficulty to get out. So this would be September and October, okay, 2023. The hexagram associated with this one is hexagram 37, the family. So we've got that energy back again. So our focus will be on our hearth, our home base, our tribe, making sure everyone in our work tribe knows their roles and fulfills their roles. Everyone works together harmoniously. And then from there, okay, we go to the last 2 months of the year, which of course is November and December, which is this full throttle 38 opposition energy. So that paints a picture for you of a beginning and an ending, 2 hexagrams, 5 stages of change in between, each stage culminating in a set of 6 steps, okay, 2 months each. Go and have a look at the time codes to find out more information if you want to come back to a particular time period, just to give yourself a strategy to work with. And that is our 2023 overview. Okay, we have key focus areas. We have a pile of strategies to get us through each 2-month increment. Come back and reflect on it as we go through. And we have the culmination of a year of the opportunity of making a breakthrough because we resolve an opposition internally or externally. We develop new muscles to be able to create a new solution that is not the winning or the losing of party A or party B, but is the combination of A and B into something else entirely. A, B, X maybe. All right, thank you so much. It's a lot to take in as we head into the new year. We have our monthly overview, our first weekly episode, all coming, bam, bam, bam. So make sure that you work through them in your own time, and let's make 2023 an amazing year. I've got lots of exciting plans for the channel, things I need to wrap up and complete, new ideas I want to start when the time comes, and I'll be here. We'll be working through 2023 together. We'll be uncovering our growth and our learning because we are looking at what comes out the soup, and we are looking at the soup and it pops up and we look at it and say, oh, that's interesting. That's a completion issue. That's an opposition issue. That's one of the changing lines. How do we be the superior person, the master in the moment, and how do we evolve ourselves to deal with these things that come into our physical everyday life in the highest and the best way? So stay with me. We'll get through 2023. We'll prosper. We will grow. And we'll do that together. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the socials. And of course, keep your eyes open for that monthly and weekly coming around the corner because January is here.